Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this very special program. And let me tell you what's being discussed in the Pakistani media. They're saying that we have given airfields and air bases to America to conduct airstrikes against the Taliban in Afghanistan. Yet, there is a sizable section of the Pakistani media which is quoting everybody from New York Times to the Washington Post and other newspapers saying that no, we're not given bases, we're never ever going to give bases to America, come what may. Now, this is a catch-22 situation for Pakistan. Give the bases, and it upsets the Taliban and China with disastrous economic and warlike consequences for the state of Pakistan. Do not give bases, then you cannot count upon America's help, and then there is the FATF, there is the World Bank, there is IMF, and a host of other Western bodies that America can influence. Now, these are, of course, analysis which various people are giving out. And this is exactly what we're going to discuss today. We have very special guests with us. From India, we have Sushant Sareen, we have General G.D. Bakshi. And from Pakistan, we have Qamar Chima and we have Imran Khans. A very, very warm welcome to all of you gentlemen. And thank you very much for joining this show. And I start off by asking Qamar Chima, what is the truth? Because the director of CIA, Pakistani media is saying director of CIA has visited Pakistan. He has met the army chief. Sections of the American media are saying that the director of CIA has visited. We don't know. We're just reading all these media reports. Now, what do you think, Qamar Chima, is actually happening there? What is happening in Pakistan regarding these air bases?
Well, thank you, Major Sab. I think first of all, we need to understand that obviously the New York Times reported that the FBI director was in Pakistan. And I think what's going on? Well, Pakistan was thinking that America must not leave Afghanistan before any kind of a settlement. But America is leaving without any settlement. The second thing is that Pakistan believes that America can make Pakistan scapegoat of whatever is happening there. The third thing is that we understand that if Pakistan gives the military bases, it could have consequences. America can shift the blame on Pakistan, even the Taliban, and some of the militant elements can legitimize violence against Pakistan. Otherwise, things would be very much difficult. But at the same time, Chinese may think that if Pakistan gives the military bases to America, it would be sort of an extension of its Indo-Pacific policy in this part of the world. But at the same time, what we have seen that there is sort of an accommodative tone of the Biden administration since a couple of months. And that tone is about this military bases. All the political government says we are not going to give the military bases, but who knows what will happen, because there is another segment of the society in Pakistan which believes that Pakistan needs much needed security assistance, which was dropped, the coalition support fund, which was dropped. We can get that obviously if Pakistan gives such kind of an assistance to Americans. At the same time, Pakistan wanted to import some of the military equipment from Turkey. That can come up. And then above all, much of the upgradation of our military equipment that comes from the USA, that can happen. So I think there are pros and cons of all this providing military bases to the US. But the public opinion definitely will be against this. And for this, Imran Khan, remember, was one of the politician in Pakistan who staged much of the protest, and he staged sit-ins against the drone strikes in Pakistan and Afghanistan. So probably the Pakistan will give the military bases. Maybe there is a probability of that, because according to my understanding, that will be very much beneficial for Pakistan. But the drones will not be in Pakistan. They will be those bases will be for the maintenance purpose, something like this.
So, General G.D. Bakshi sir, Qamar Chima in a sense says that it will be beneficial for Pakistan, and because of the coalition fund and other monies that will come into Pakistan. That is one piece. The second piece that he says is that it is not for operations, it's for maintenance, etc. I fail to understand. Pakistan always wanted strategic depth in Afghanistan, and strategic depth in any country comes with a certain cost. Now, to give the bases or not give the bases, I think the Americans have sort of advanced their departure from Afghanistan. They're talking about the 4th of July or some such date. Now, it is right around the corner, less than a month away. If the Americans were to abandon Afghanistan, and they've done it before, sir, they've done it before. This will not be the first time that the Americans are abandoning Afghanistan. If they just leave one fine day, where does it leave Pakistan, and what kind of pressure can Pakistan expect?
Gaurav, I seem to think that Pakistan is between a rock and a hard place. Let's not forget that Major General Nasirullah Babar was the father of the Taliban. He fathered the Taliban, and it was supposed to be a very clever idea to, you know, destroy the nation state in Afghanistan. And Afghanistan, by the way, happens to be one of the oldest standing states in Asia. Destroy that nation state, destroy Pakhtun nationalism, and get control of Pakistan. Pakistan gets control of Afghanistan and treats it like, its strategic depth against India. The problem was that almost virtually partitioned the country between the Northern Alliance and the Taliban, because the Taliban was genocidal with the minorities, with the Shias, with the Tajiks and the others, forcing them to form the Northern Alliance, forcing the Hazaras to seek the support of Iran. And that history may well repeat itself. Those patterns of history may repeat itself. America is wanting, Donald Trump was very keen to get the American troops the hell out of Afghanistan, because they have suffered a lot there. A lot of blood and treasure has been spent there. He wanted to focus more on the battle with the Chinese, especially in the Pacific, Indo-Pacific, to be more accurate. But I thought that is a misnomer, because if you have, America has to deal with China, one of the pressure points is through Afghanistan against Xinjiang. So if they are going to get their boots out of the ground, they would like to replace it with very highly responsive and effective air power. And the standard prescription for doing that is to base it in Pakistan. You don't forget that the U-2 planes flew out of Peshawar when they used to overfly and do recce missions over the Soviet Union. So they had the base in Peshawar, a very secretive base, and that tradition continues. The Pakistani military hierarchy, a lot of their officers go for their courses to Pakistan, to the United States, and they are quite beholden to the United States, and their sons and daughters are studying in the United States. None of them are studying in China. So the Pakistani army would be very keen to have that base, and as Kamar Chima has told you, make money out of it, get weapons out of it, and caucus snook it.
All right, sir. Thank you for your comments, sir. Hamid Khan, I would like to ask you, they often say, and this is the only time where I've heard in any country where people keep on saying that the government and the establishment is on the same page. Now, we know that establishment basically means Pakistan Army and its tentacles, whether the ISI or any other tentacle of the Pakistani forces. Now, great pains are taken to establish that the establishment and the civil government are on the same page. In this case, are they on the same page?
Let me tell you one thing. Yes, there is no doubt that this is the first time that the government and the army or establishment is on the same page. And there is a very clear reason for that. And that the reason is they both are working for the betterment of the country. They have decided to take the country on a better stage now. And I'll tell you one thing. I mean, what I see and what I have information so far for these news about the bases giving to the USA or to giving them any assistance, there is no question about it at the moment, and it is for sure. I always say to my friends in India or friends in America or everywhere, I tell them that they need to come out of nostalgia now. Pakistan is not a Pakistan of 1971. Pakistan is not the Pakistan of 2001. In 1971, yes, we lost Bangladesh. Yes, whatever happened, whatever conspiracy happened, we failed it. Okay, agreed. Then 2001, Musharraf gave the bases and assisted USA more than their expectation and more than our capacity. And we have heavily paid the price for it. Almost 80,000 lives we have paid for in the war on terror. Imran Khan, as a prime minister, and prior to that, was one of the only person who was against this. that there is no way that Pakistan should give air bases or any kind of assistance to America in terms of their army support. The reason was very clear that Pakistan knows, and Imran Khan was very clear, that it means that having an open enmity with Taliban, with Afghan, forces, and on top of it, while we are heading towards a very good future in shape of CPEC, OBOR, Pak-China Corporation, coming with Pakistan, China, Russia Corporation, why would Pakistan bring America in the region again? Yes, there is no doubt about it that there is a big panic, and in American Pentagon, in American administration, I agree. But this time the Pakistan is changed. Now Pakistani Prime Minister refuses to talk to a secretary level American official. He has refused to talk to anybody less than the President Joe Biden, because now the government have decided that they will have the relations with America on equal basis.
Sushant, tell me. Now, the way Hamid Khan says it, that everything is fine and, everybody's in love with each other in Pakistan. And there is no way Imran Khan is going to speak to a secretary level. Secretary level is a minister level guy, a cabinet minister of the United States of America. I mean, what he's saying is unbelievable. I mean, I'm not able to swallow this. Please, Sushant, your comments.
Okay, I have a couple of things to say, but on just this particular point, are the people in the US administration interested in talking to Imran Khan? Do they not know what the power equations in Pakistan are? What does Imran Khan have that he can give to them? He basically is a titular head, number one. Number two, this whole thing about Imran Khan has taken a certain position. I can tell you about 1,000 positions which Imran Khan had taken while he was in opposition, and he has made U-turns on every single position of those. What makes you think that he's not going to take a U-turn on this particular position? Number three, when the Americans came in 2001, at that point of time, the first time the Pakistanis learned that they had given bases and that the Americans were operating from inside Pakistan, flying their drones from inside Pakistan and hitting targets inside Pakistan, was as late as 2009. Before that, all of these guys had no idea what the Americans were doing and what the Pakistan army was doing with the Americans. Number four, Gaurav, I think we in India always underestimate shiftiness of Pakistan. Pakistanis always miscalculate, but we underestimate Pakistan's shiftiness. For example, you remember WikiLeaks and the Pakistan's then Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani saying that, listen, you guys continue carrying out drone attacks. We will scream and shout about it, but don't take us seriously, right? This is the kind of game they're likely to play once again. The Pakistanis, please read Mullah Zaif's book when he describes and his description of Pakistan, where he says that these are people who have two faces on one head. Okay? They have one mouth and two tongues, and they speak different languages to everybody. So what are they going to do? For the last 20 years, they continue to support and sponsor the Taliban. They carried out the Taliban operations. They helped them do all of that, all the time telling the Americans that we are a stalwart ally in the war on terror. So they played both sides. Okay, what makes you think that they will not do something similar this time, that they will tell the Americans that, okay, fine, we'll give you a base, but under certain restrictions, and as that New York Times report says, that you have to take our sanction before you carry out any kind of a raid, inform the Taliban, tell the Taliban that ye hamari majburi hai, we have to do this. So we will make sure that nothing happens to your regime. We will continue to string the Americans along and we'll continue to support you. What makes you think that they can't do this game all over again?
Kamarjima, he says that, Sushant feels that Pakistan is not between a rock and a hard place, and Pakistan loves this kind of situation because the more the confusion, the more benefit there is for Pakistan. Yes, the common Pakistani will suffer, but the so-called Ashrafi of Pakistan will make hay while the sun shines. Now, my question to you, Kamarjima, is that, I have been watching the Pakistani media very closely. I've been watching it very closely for, I don't know, so many years. But for 3-4 days, a lot of top TV anchors have been discussing that, apparently the Indians are talking to the Taliban. They named specifically NSA Ajit Doval as a person who was speaking to the Taliban, and a lot of them said that they used the word ki janab ye dhoka hai. Now, if the Taliban are, for example, going to be leaders and rulers of Afghanistan, one scenario that they could rule Afghanistan, why can't the Taliban talk to whomsoever they want to talk to? This is not a marriage between, the Pakistanis and the Taliban that you can't talk to anybody. Even in marriages, people do talk to other people. I mean, that's healthy, that's normal. But this cry of disbelief from the Pakistani media that why is, I don't know if somebody spoke to the Taliban, I'm not aware, but I've heard it on Pakistani media that, our people are talking to the Taliban, and there is this great deal of angst which I see in the Pakistan media. Kyun baat kar rahe hain Taliban se? They should not be talking to the Taliban. And the Taliban, we supported 3 million Afghans when they had nowhere to go. We fed 3 million Afghans for so many years, and this is how they repay us. The same spiel again and again. I want your views, Kamachi.
Well, I think when Zalmay Khalilzad visited India a few months ago, I think he gave an interview to the Suhasini Haider, and he said that India should talk to Taliban, and that was very much clear that this is happening for quite some time. And India was planning and thinking, but India was very slow in this process. But in my understanding, Taliban are one of the legitimate players in Afghanistan to whom the Americans and everyone else is talking, and why can't India talk? And I think Pakistan must understand and realize that even if we don't like Taliban should not talk to India, they will talk, because if they are going to be into the state apparatus and they are going to be in the state craft, they need to win every actor in the region, and India has had a huge significant investment in Afghanistan, so how come they won't talk to India? But let me tell you, I think the level of the trust that would not be that much high. Neither the Indians will trust Taliban nor the Taliban will trust India because of the historical postures of both the actors since a few decades. So I think on one hand, Taliban should talk, and the other hand, the people in Pakistan must realize that since we call that Afghanistan is an independent, sovereign place, they should talk to whomever they talk, then we should give them a space. And since we want this should be an Afghan-led, Afghan-owned peace process, then that also means the Taliban should also be having that control of talking and discussing the future prosperity in Afghanistan.
G.D. Bakshi sir, there were other reports also in the media that somebody in Pakistan spoke to somebody in America. Now, I don't know who this somebody is. They said the deep state. Now, these words are thrown around very loosely, and nobody knows what they're talking about. But they said that why in God's name does America require Pakistani soil to launch missiles? Can't they do it through their aircraft carriers? Which practically speaking is not so difficult. But then, flying drones, which need a longer runway, and it requires land, sir. What do you think China will say? And how do you think China will react if Pakistan does end up giving land to America in the past? It has done so in the past, sir. And Imran Khan controls very little, sir. It is Qamar Javed Bajwa who controls Pakistan and controls foreign policy when it comes to America, India, China, and Afghanistan, pretty much. What is your sensing, sir? What is going to be the reaction from China if at all Pakistan gives these bases to the United States of America?
Sushant knows Pakistan very well, and I totally go with him that Pakistan is the most opportunistic state in the region. They will play both sides. They have learned to play both sides very well. They have developed it into a fine art of running with the hare and hunting with the hound. But there are certain changes on the ground now and what it was earlier, because whatever financial assistance it was getting from the United States has all dried up in Trump's time. Yes, the Democrats are back. Yes, the Democrats have a huge soft corner for Pakistan, and they are trying to see that they regrow their roots in Pakistan. But I don't think the situation is quite the same as it was in General Musharraf's time. Then the Chinese footprint within Pakistan was not so much. And the moment the Chinese get a feel that the Americans are not doing monkey tricks in, Xinjiang, and they are not using Pakistan and the ISI as an instrumentality, and the ISI is capable of doing that. They have absolutely no qualms on, playing both sides. What is the material change in the situation there now? The Chinese footprint was never so big within Pakistan. The Pakistan financial dependence on China was never so much. What part will that play?
Ahmed Khan, my question to you is simple. You've heard all points of view. Obviously, Indian points being different from Pakistani views. And Kamar Chima came up with some very good points regarding Pakistan, and he has some clarity of thought on this matter. Ahmed Khan, my question to you is this. You say that there is no question of giving bases to the United States of America. Let's say, academically speaking, I agree with you that no bases will be given. How does Pakistan plan to deal with the financial backlash that will surely come? Because the Chinese have said, we are not giving you money, we are not giving you grants, we are not giving you loans. The CPAC, for all your bluster and all your confidence, CPAC has not moved for the past 2 years. The Chinese have literally stopped investing money in Pakistan. You were supposed to get 9 billion, that became 6 billion, then that became zero. So there is no money coming in the immediate future. Pakistan needs 25 to 30 billion next year just to keep its nose above water. Where will the money come from, Ahmed Khan?
Gaurav, I think so. Your informations are not exactly correct in this regard. The reason is that Pakistan's, if you look into Pakistan's stock exchange, if you look into the figures, if you look into the Moody's figures, and if you look into Pakistan reserves, Pakistan's economical situation is much more stable than past 3-4 years. And there is a very prosperous future in terms of economical stability, because there are lots of projects are nearly completed. I would say that Pakistan, I always say, and I think we should agree with it, that Pakistan, as Major General Bakshi said as well, that Pakistan is not depending on America anymore at that level. Yes, we don't want to lose a friendship with America. We will carry on our friendship with Americans. But as Mr. Sushant was saying, that Pakistan will be playing a double game with the Americans again and this and that. Do you really think that Americans are that stupid? I mean, this is not an understandable thing. And secondly, Pakistan is more secure not to give its bases to America rather than giving its bases to America, because China is as our partner, and the situation, as everybody is saying, that China will not support having American footprints in Pakistan, and Pakistan has paid the price to giving and supporting America for last many years. Pakistan lost billions and trillions of dollars in terms of trade, in terms of so many losses because of this war on terror. Pakistan does not want any war footprints back to Pakistan's soil, because Pakistan have paid a heavy price of bringing the peace in the region. Yes, I would say there is one possibility that India will offer its air bases when America will have no from everywhere, like it was offered in 2001 as well by Indian government, if you remember. But it is nothing to do with Pakistan.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining this fantastic debate. Now, I leave you all with a question. Like Ahmed Khan said, India is welcome to go ahead and give its bases to America. But then those planes are going to fly over Pakistan. Please remember, those planes are anyway going to fly over Pakistan. Okay, all right. Maybe my geography is different from yours. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you. Ahmed Saab, I'm absolutely out of time, sir. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining this lovely debate. I'll see you next week with another set of guests on another great topic. Thank you and Jai Hind.